Well, I told you we're going to talk more and more about your powers, what consciousness is. What's the big deal right now with all these scientists stepping out and saying, I've had mystical experiences, and we're going to take that science, combine it with spirituality, and prove that you are a walking creator. That's what you came here with, that's what you have now, and I'm going to show you how to access it. And I'm going to reference some really greats like Bruce Lipton and Gregg Braden, show you what they found that you can access right now. It has to do with your DNA, the power you hold. This could be life-changing for you starting today. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. I want to help you break through fear. Fear is a limiting belief. It's a story about what's going on out there, and it's also the story that you have no control over it, right? Isn't that what fear is? This is happening to me? No. What if you could turn everything around? Well, I'm here to tell you that you can. I recently saw Rhonda Byrne on a podcast. If you don't know who she is, she wrote The Secret. Well, some spiritual people poo-pooed that, including Wayne Dyer, who said it was very materialistic focused and it wasn't spiritual enough. But I'm going to tell you what, after listening to that podcast, I want you to know that whatever you use it for is your choice within the frequency of consciousness. You can use it for good, you can use it for destruction, but it's still the same power. And we're going to talk about that because Rhonda actually did a lot of good things, I found out, by letting you know that you can access it right now. And it just takes some deprogramming, but we're going to talk about DNA also. What is it? What's already within us that we can access? And this message that Gregg Braden shared is super powerful. I'll hope you subscribe. Come join my private membership. We're meeting live and we're talking about these very things. And I'm giving you practices so that you can start accessing it and seeing not only just your world change, but the entire planet. I've referenced Edgar Cayce for a long time now. He taught this same thing, that the mind is the builder. It's changing the reality, and there's so many things we don't have to experience. It's not necessary. There will be those on the planet as we split into the new and the old earth in the frequency, in the same planet, the same existence. There will be those that still want to learn lessons. They want to go through controversy. That is a choice. It is not a bad thing. So we have to get out of this judging, this is right or wrong, and know that each of us has our own path, but every single person on this planet, including you, no matter what your circumstances or past, possesses this amazing resource. So today I referenced all kinds of resources, like about 100, about quantum physics, molecular biology, and spiritual consciousness. And I especially focused on the message in these resources that human DNA is more than a rigid biological blueprint. We're not going to go into too much scientific detail, but electromagnetic fields can trigger genetic mutations and allow DNA to influence its environment, even when physically absent. All right, we have to get away from the material world. My DNA, my thought can influence something on the other side of the planet instantaneously. It is consciousness, and consciousness isn't in one spot. Don't try and wrap your head around it. So people like Bruce Lipton, Richard Rudd argue that our thoughts, our beliefs, and environments actively regulate genetic expression, shifting the paradigm from genetic determinism to personal agency. In other words, you have the choice to change molecular structure with your thoughts. Thoughts override. And it's not just a thought. There has to be a belief. There has to be a power, a frequency behind it. And that's why some of you who want to manifest things, it's not happening because you don't believe it. And you're still generating that frequency that I can't have it. I'm not doing this. This isn't really working. We're going to work on that today. So shout out to Monica, who reminded me that Gregg Braden, who I haven't watched in a while because he was getting a little dark, but he has brought to light some really amazing things like the divine signatures encoded within our chemical structure, our DNA. There was a message. I'm going to share that message with you in a moment. So quantum biology is now going where the human genome acts as a bridge between physical matter and a higher purposeful consciousness. It is not separate. It is affecting every event, every action, Everything that you see happening out there, you are participating in. You came here perfect. You are of the universe and consciousness that created all things as one. We are of the source, not the little me who's doing things out there. We have those capabilities, but we are acting as one. So when you came here in this body, those abilities didn't go away. The memory of them did. And so we can't have that memory here, or we wouldn't get to explore the darkness and the weakness and the sadness. We wouldn't get to do all of that because when we're on the other side, we know that none of that truly exists unless we create it. Here we start with that. We start with the density and we move out of it for the experience. So this holistic perspective that I'm going to give you today suggests that mastering our internal state can unlock latent genius and drive our own biological and spiritual evolution. This is how people heal themselves using what I'm going to share with you today. So let's talk about Gregg Braden. Who is he? I've been watching him for many, many years, and he is a primary figure in this field. He was quite scientific, went into the spiritual realms, and people were critical of him, but now he's a rock star. He discusses how the chemical elements of DNA, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon, that's all we are, everything is, can be translated into ancient Hebrew letters to reveal a hidden message. Now, I'm going to give you a link to that video, and he explains how they came up with this, and it was pretty genius. They could do it in any language. DNA has an energetic field that remains even after the physical DNA is removed. It has an imprint within consciousness, even after it's removed. This is the scientific evidence for the connection between matter and spirit. All right, so let's talk about ghosts. Remove the person, that DNA, that imprint. This is why when traumatic experiences happen in a certain spot, it's replaying. That is an imprint of DNA that never goes away. So everything you think, everything you do is forever, and it also can be changed. Now, Bruce Lipton focused on biology. His work on epigenetics in the biology of belief explores how thoughts and environment, the spiritual or energetic side, can physically alter how our genes are expressed. Richard Rudd, the gene keys, this system bridges DNA with the Qing and astrology, suggesting that our genetic code, it's a blueprint for spiritual awakening. So those genes that we have, that DNA, is the blueprint for spiritual awakening. We talked about junk DNA. What's missing? Nothing's missing. It's like buying a big house and knowing that you're going to eventually fill out all of those rooms with furniture. It's going to take a while, but it's there in anticipation of the expansion. And that's what's happening in our bodies. Our DNA is acting as a quantum antenna. It's receiving and transmitting information from the field around us. So this isn't just woo-woo, mind is connecting. This is actually physical. So let's talk about what the message is. Gregg Braden provides a deep dive into the idea of a God code hidden in the DNA. All right. He explains how the atomic mass of the four primary elements can be translated into that Hebrew, Yod, He, Vav, and Gimel. This translates to the message, God eternal within the body. Do we need to say anything else? Our genetic code is an intentional signature rather than the result of random mutations. There's nothing random in anything. Even mutations are purposeful. All right? Everything's purposeful. So let's say that again. God eternal within the body. That's pretty self-explanatory. So all these scientists came together. I went through a lot of resources and they came up with the conclusion that DNA is a highly sensitive, non-physical antenna. It listens and responds to environmental signals, electromagnetic fields, and the power of human consciousness. There's no one thing that stands alone that overpowers anything. You cannot overpower free will. I said, you can't overpower me, but if you come in the room and tell a joke and you make me laugh, you have influenced me. Somebody said, I can't make you laugh. And that was a good point. You can't make anybody do anything, but you can influence me to get me to do some things of my free will. If you tell funny enough a joke, I'm probably not going to be able to not laugh. That's how much influence you have on everything. It's physical, spiritual consciousness. You are the future of this planet. You are the determining factor of your life here. I interview millionaires all day for a television network, and I'm going to tell you something. They all have crazy stories to tell me and turned their lives around. How does that happen? They made a decision, and you can too, because all power rests within you right now. I want to tell you right now, no matter what situation you're in, anything can be turned around. What story are you telling yourself in your head? It's affecting your DNA, and everything is blasting out what you're choosing. This is where the free will choice comes in, because all this power you hold is activated based on choices. So Bruce Lipton says that the cell's brain is not the nucleus, the DNA, but the cell membrane, which acts as an interface that translates environmental signals into biological action. Everything is always being created. It is not there's nothing static. You are constantly changing. Cells are changing in every moment, and you can guide everything into a specific direction for your own experience. Richard Rudd echoes this, stating that DNA is not in control of your destiny, right? So it's my parents or whatever. And yes, that information, that imprint does come with you, but it doesn't control your destiny. Rather, your attitude to life tells your DNA what kind of person you want to become. So they did experiments, I can't stand any experiments, but experiments on mice, and they, did certain things to mice that would react to a certain situation, a bell or whatever it is. And the mice that had little baby mice, the baby mice who had never been exposed to it, reacted the same way when they rang the bell. It was in their DNA. Our DNA is, of course, part of theirs and theirs and theirs, but we have the ability to change it. We can override it. It's not a genetic imprint that tells you that's who you are. So be careful when you say names. I have ADHD, I'm ADD, I have PTSD, and hundreds of other crazy whatevers. You're labeling yourself and you're claiming it. Be careful with that. What would you like to claim today? That's a little bit more exciting and expansive than that. Let's talk about the DNA phantom effect. Dr. Vladimir Paponin's DNA phantom effect demonstrates that DNA possesses an energetic field that remains in a vacuum even after the physical sample is removed. What does that mean? It's suggesting DNA interacts with the physical vacuum substructure. Non-physical DNA interactions suggest that genetic information can be transmitted via resonance, electromagnetic fields, and quantum entanglement rather than just physical transfer. So I can sit here and influence anything. There's no such thing as time and space because it's already one thing connected. Quantum entanglement is my focus. I render, create, or actually it's already really created. I manifest by placing my focus, and it has nothing to do with where it is. It's all one consciousness reacting on a level beyond human comprehension, but know that you do hold that power. Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief posits that energetic messages from our thoughts are among the most powerful external signals influencing cellular health. This is where people can heal themselves. And the worse it gets, the more you believe, I'm not going to heal myself. But then we have examples of miracles. And Christ was a walking example of healing, but he couldn't do it without the participation of the subject matter. That's why he couldn't heal everybody. And he also made sure that people who were non-believers left the room. Yes, that's that genetic imprint that they are blasting out in the electromagnetic field that lowers that frequency. This is just all science. And you're walking around with this, and that's what the Schumann resonance is. It's that electromagnetic field, that frequency we're putting out that is being registered based on the mass frequency. So this is presented as the foundation for the placebo effect, where the power of belief alone modifies psychological processes. They've done experiments where they give people pills here, pills here. These are placebos, these are not. And guess what? Depending on what they thought the pills were, they had the same results. We know this. Why aren't you using it? Are you using it? I want to hear your stories. So how do you reprogram yourself? Well, there's a whole science behind that. Reprogramming your genetic expression through your attitude is rooted in the field of epigenetics. It suggests that DNA is not a fixed, immutable blueprint. It's a sensitive code that responds to signals from outside the cell. And so the sources that I went into and researched say that the cell membrane is an interface. The antenna, it's picking up on this. Attitude as a quantum signal. At a quantum level, your attitude is your environment. You're creating this. This is my thought. This is what I believe. This is my frequency. It's being created at all times, affecting everything in your body. So be careful with those bad attitudes and judgment and separation. Different attitudes generate different electromagnetic signatures. Negative thoughts and fear-based emotions cause your DNA to contract. This is documented, shutting down certain hormonal pathways and leading to feelings of exhaustion or depression. Okay? Physically happening, expansion, positive thoughts and an attitude of love or laughter generate high frequency electrical signals that cause DNA to expand and relax, triggering the release of health promoting hormones. Are you using that? Start to watch funny stuff and shut down the negative media. You can change your DNA. You can change this response by contemplating higher frequency concepts, such as those found in the gene keys. You can gradually deprogram low frequency shadow patterns like fear or greed and reprogram your cells with the frequencies of your gifts. You have to take responsibility. You have to disarm the shadow, bring awareness to hidden unconscious fears to effectively disarm them. What am I afraid of? And don't pull back from them. My breakthrough fear course, I say, we hit it straight. What is it I'm afraid of? And all of a sudden it dissolves you. Wait, that's not real. It's not happening now. It doesn't have to happen. What is it I'm really afraid of? Right? We hit it head on because it's created in your head. Acceptance, embrace your shadow patterns. Rather than resisting them, this acceptance is the pearl that unlocks the creative genius in your DNA. Acceptance. This is how it is. We're always fighting things. I don't want this. I want to get to this level or this money or this relationship. And guess what? You're going to be greatly disappointed when you get there. Now what? Go into gratitude. Be thankful for everything you have, and it'll say, yes, I'm going to give you more. Intentional service. Align your attitude with a higher purpose or service to others, which helps you reach a genetic escape velocity away from fear-based programming. When you're focused on the well-being of others and love and expansion, it feels great. And you're not thinking about me, little me, and all of a sudden things come to you. And you cannot block it, though, by thinking you don't deserve it because you are perfect. So we're affecting everything. Even water has a memory. Research related to the phantom effect. The phantom effect is we're creating something. It shows that water molecules can retain the memory or specific frequency of a DNA sequence after the physical DNA is removed, implying a non-material storage mechanism for genetic information. The phantom effect, like when somebody loses a limb and they still feel like it's there, that's real. It still exists on some level. When you walk in a room and it feels icky, that's real. Let's wrap this up and talk about light. In a more spiritual or metaphysical context, this effect is seen as proof that DNA acts as a transducer of light. It's a wormhole. It suggests that the physical molecule is merely the skin or anchor from a much larger field of awareness that connects the individual to the entire holographic universe. We are just a container, right? But we don't end here. That power, that consciousness is way beyond this physical body. There's no actual barriers to anything. We are connected to the entire holographic universe, as is the DNA. You can't remove anything. It is never gone. Everything exists everywhere at one time. I know, but what does this do for you? If this exists here right now at the same time that I exist here, Well, what's stopping me from going over here? Nothing. Your thoughts, your beliefs. If you believe that this is something for somebody else, so it is. Yes. How do you deprogram? It takes some work. And so we're going to continue to work on that. Higher thoughts. Focus on higher thoughts. Watch those thoughts. If you've seen my 3 seconds to manifest anything video, that's how I started to get attention on YouTube. I was timing it. How long does it take for me to switch from this negative thought to a higher one? And it was working. People were saying, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how many negative thoughts I had all day. I actually have an app. I should probably bring that back because it disrupts you all day. You don't realize how many of those thoughts you're having and your own behavior. Am I negative? Am I criticizing? Am I always picking on people? Don't go there. That will affect your own field and you will resonate on that low frequency and experience the things within that reality. So while the scientific community at large maintains skepticism, even though they've proven this has uncovered a hidden dimension of DNA that's essential for understanding the mind-body connection and the mechanics behind healing phenomena and actual creation. You've heard me talk about Casey, Mind is the Builder. Federico Fagin, who is the creator of the microprocessor, had an amazing experience. He had light coming out of his chest and he connected to the universe. And now this materialistic person has become the spokesman for one consciousness. This is real. And sometimes you can't always prove it to people. You have to experience it. Have you experienced it? I would love to hear what you've experienced in this unbelievable field out there. More of you are going to, but you have to release the limitations and the fear and know that nothing can ever harm you because you are all things. I hope that you'll subscribe. Please share my videos. Give me a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't read my book, I explain what you are. You are one thing, and it's beautiful, and it's going to empower you. Also, those of you who want to meet me live and in person, every Sunday we meet for an hour, and if you don't make it, you get that recording. You also get all my videos in advance. And if you want live coaching with me, go down in the description. I have a discount for that. That's what I do for a living. I'm here to guide. My mission is to raise the frequency of the planet, one light being at a time, because you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. You all-powerful, perfect being. Namaste.